Welcome to the Facilitation Skills for Sprint Review workshop. Imagine you're facilitating the sprint review for a mobile banking team, releasing a new QR payment feature. Executives, business users, developers, and operations all have different expectations. Your success won't depend on speaking well. It will depend on guiding meaningful conversations that help everyone make better product decisions together. Great facilitators aren't born. They're built through experience. During this course, you'll learn by doing, not by memorizing Scrum theory. Every exercise mirrors situations you'll face in real projects. You'll facilitate difficult conversations, receive immediate feedback, reflect on what happened, and improve before facing the same challenges with real stakeholders. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Reading books isn't enough. You have to ride. Facilitation works the same way. Throughout this workshop, we'll simulate real sprint reviews where stakeholders ask unexpected questions, priorities suddenly change, and conflicts appear. Every simulation helps transform theory into practical habits you can confidently apply at work. Many sprint review trainings teach perfect scripts and textbook examples. Reality is different. Stakeholders interrupt. Executives challenge estimates. Demos sometimes fail. This course avoids passive lectures because real facilitation isn't about reading prepared slides. It's about adapting calmly when the meeting doesn't go according to plan. Instead, you'll experience realistic sprint reviews. You'll facilitate product demonstrations, manage difficult executive questions, resolve disagreements between business and developers, and convert stakeholder feedback into actionable backlog items. By the end, you'll be ready to lead discussions that improve both collaboration and product direction. By completing this workshop, you'll confidently facilitate valuable discussions instead of status meetings. You'll keep stakeholders engaged, manage difficult or off-topic questions, encourage productive collaboration, and guide the team toward better planning decisions. Your role becomes enabling better outcomes, not simply running another meeting. Our banking team has completed the QR payment feature. The sprint review isn't about proving everyone worked hard. It's an opportunity for developers, business representatives, operations, and support teams to inspect the working product together. Their feedback determines whether the product backlog should change before the next sprint begins. Suppose the facilitator spends 30 minutes reading completed tasks from PowerPoint while nobody sees the software. That's not a sprint review. Likewise, blaming developers for bugs or celebrating polished slides misses the point. A sprint review focuses on working software, honest conversations, and collaborative decisions about what to build next. A successful sprint review produces 4 outcomes. First, everyone inspects the completed product increment. Second, stakeholders provide meaningful feedback. Third, the team confirms whether business priorities have changed. Finally, the product backlog is updated with clear next steps. If these 4 outcomes happen, the meeting created real value. During our banking sprint review, imagine the business director wants faster delivery while customer support worries about usability. The facilitator doesn't take sides. Instead, they manage the meeting's energy, encourage balanced participation, keep discussions focused on customer value, and help every stakeholder leave with shared understanding and agreed actions. Many new Scrum Masters think facilitation means hosting the meeting like an MC. Imagine our business director asks why QR payment is delayed. An MC simply passes the microphone. A facilitator helps the team explore facts, encourages productive discussion, and ensures everyone understands the business impact. Your job is not entertaining the audience. It's creating valuable conversation. A successful sprint review starts long before the demo begins. In our banking project, we first remind everyone of the sprint goal, explain what was completed, demonstrate the QR payment journey, collect stakeholder feedback, and finally agree on product backlog updates. Following this simple flow keeps discussions organized while allowing enough flexibility for meaningful collaboration. 10 minutes before the sprint review, the demo server suddenly becomes unavailable. Without preparation, stakeholder confidence disappears immediately. Great facilitators always verify the demo environment, prepare realistic customer data, rehearse the demonstration flow, and keep screenshots or recorded videos ready. Preparation reduces risk and lets the conversation focus on product value instead of technical problems. Technology isn't the only thing that requires preparation. People do too. Before our banking sprint review, stakeholders receive the meeting purpose and expected outcomes. Meanwhile, developers agree on who demonstrates each feature and openly discuss known limitations. When everyone shares the same expectations, discussions become more transparent and productive. Halfway through the review, someone asks, why did the team complete fewer stories this sprint? Instead of defending productivity, the facilitator redirects the discussion. Sprint reviews evaluate whether the team delivered valuable outcomes, not whether they appeared busy. Success is measured by customer value, learning, and better product decisions, not by counting completed tasks. The first 5 minutes determine the quality of the entire meeting. Our facilitator welcomes everyone, reminds them that the sprint goal is improving QR payment, explains that honest feedback is encouraged, and confirms the meeting time box. These simple steps create psychological safety and prevent discussions from becoming personal or chaotic later. Instead of saying, let's start today's sprint review, try something more meaningful. Today we'll inspect our new QR payment journey. We're especially interested in whether customers can complete payments faster and more confidently. Your feedback will directly influence what we build next sprint. A clear purpose encourages stakeholders to contribute valuable insights. Rather than listing completed features, tell a customer story. Meet Sarah, a busy customer paying at a coffee shop. She opens the banking app, scans the QR code, confirms payment, and receives instant confirmation. Throughout the demonstration, ask stakeholders questions like, would your customers find this process simple? Stories create engagement far better than feature lists. Every feature tells a story. First, describe the customer's original problem. Payments were slow and inconvenient. Next, demonstrate the new solution using QR payment. Then explain the measurable business value, such as reducing transaction time by 70%. Finally, acknowledge current limitations and future improvements. Honest storytelling builds credibility and trust with stakeholders. While the demo runs smoothly, notice the customer support manager quietly frowning. Instead of ignoring the reaction, pause and ask, I noticed some concerns. Would you like to share your perspective? Great facilitators observe people as carefully as they observe the product. They manage discussion, park deep technical debates, and ensure every important voice is heard. As the demo concludes, the business director raises his hand. This sprint delivered fewer stories than planned. Should I be worried? Everyone looks at the Scrum Master. Instead of becoming defensive, the facilitator stays calm. That's a fair concern. Let's first understand what we delivered, why priorities changed during the sprint, and what value today's increment creates before discussing the numbers. One difficult question quickly leads to another. Why is velocity lower? Asks operations. Customer support follows with, why are there still bugs? Finally, sales asks, where is the feature we requested? The facilitator doesn't rush to answer. Instead, they invite the product owner and developers to explain the facts while keeping the discussion focused on customer value and backlog priorities. One developer replies, we worked overtime, but infrastructure slowed us down. The facilitator gently reframes the message. What we've learned is that 2 infrastructure issues reduced our delivery capacity. Let's discuss how we can reduce that risk next sprint. Suddenly, the conversation shifts from defending the past to improving the future. The business director begins sharing one idea after another, leaving little opportunity for others to contribute. The facilitator smiles and says, those are valuable points. Before we continue, I'd like to hear from customer support. How do real users experience the new QR payment journey? The room becomes balanced again, and quieter stakeholders start participating. Although stakeholders are now engaged, the developers remain unusually quiet. The facilitator changes direction. David, you implemented the QR scanning engine. Could you explain why the team chose this design? Instead of hearing only from the product owner, stakeholders now hear directly from the people who built the solution, increasing confidence in the team. Customer support comments, the payment confirmation screen doesn't feel right. Rather than recording that vague statement, the facilitator asks, which part creates confusion for users? The answer is clear. The confirmation button is difficult to notice outdoors. That observation immediately becomes a specific backlog item the team can improve next sprint. Before ending the discussion, the facilitator asks 3 questions. Which feature delivers the most value today? What business risk concerns you the most? If we could improve only one thing next sprint, what should it be? These prompts encourage stakeholders to think beyond opinions and provide feedback that directly influences product direction. The facilitator pauses and reflects with the audience. Imagine if today's meeting had been different. What if we only showed PowerPoint slides? What if only the product owner had spoken? What if the demo had failed without a backup? None of the valuable discussions we just had would have happened. Good facilitation prevents these common anti-patterns. After nearly an hour, attention begins to fade. Instead of continuing with more explanations, the facilitator opens a Miro board and asks everyone to vote for the most valuable improvement. Energy immediately returns. People discuss ideas, challenge priorities, and collaborate on the next sprint. Active participation keeps stakeholders engaged until the meeting ends. As everyone leaves the room, compare today's meeting with a traditional status meeting. Nobody spent time reading task lists or reporting percentages. Instead, stakeholders experienced working software, discussed business value, resolved concerns together, and agreed on what to build next. That's the real purpose of a sprint review. Not reporting progress, but shaping the future of the product. The sprint review is over, but the facilitator's work isn't. Before closing the day, review a simple checklist. Did we remind everyone of the sprint goal? Did discussions stay focused on product value? Were all important feedback items captured? Has the product backlog been updated? Great facilitators evaluate every sprint review so the next one becomes even more effective. Reflect on today's sprint review. The QR payment feature wasn't perfect, yet stakeholders left aligned and confident. Why? Because expectations were managed, everyone had a voice, and discussions stayed focused on customer value. In real projects, sprint reviews rarely fail because of software. They fail because conversations are poorly facilitated and expectations aren't aligned. Now it's your turn. You've learned the principles of facilitation by following one sprint review from start to finish. In Part 2, you'll become the facilitator. Through realistic simulations, you'll practice handling pressure, managing conflict, and guiding stakeholders, just as you would in a real agile project. Our workshop follows 3 simple rules. First, this is a safe environment. Mistakes are expected because learning comes from practice. Second, everyone participates. You'll rotate between facilitator, stakeholder, and developer roles. Finally, every exercise ends with rapid coaching, so you can immediately improve before trying again. Let's continue with the same mobile banking project. The sprint goal is to enable QR transfer for retail customers. During the demo, support reports that QR scanning often fails in low-light environments, while business users feel the workflow is too complicated. As the facilitator, your challenge is to guide the discussion toward constructive decisions instead of emotional debate. Now imagine 3 unexpected situations. First, the demo environment becomes slow. Second, the business director asks about the 6-month roadmap during the feature demo. Third, customer support becomes frustrated over a minor defect. Your job isn't to solve every problem. It's to facilitate the conversation so the meeting stays focused on today's sprint goal. A great facilitator acknowledges concerns without losing control. For example, I hear concerns about usability and stability. Let's organize the discussion into user impact, production risk, and backlog priority. If someone asks about long-term strategy, politely park the topic and return to today's objective, inspecting the sprint increment. Suddenly, a stakeholder says, "This feature is useless." Many facilitators become defensive, but experienced facilitators stay calm. First, understand the expectation behind the emotion. Next, remind everyone that sprint review exists to inspect and adapt. Finally, ask, what specific improvement would create more value for your users? Conflict becomes collaboration. Let's switch to a new project. An e-commerce team is preparing tomorrow's flash sale. Performance tests show response times of 3 seconds. DevOps blames infrastructure, QA blames development, and business insists on launching tomorrow. As the facilitator, can you keep the discussion focused on solving the problem instead of assigning blame? In high-pressure meetings, emotions spread quickly. The facilitator's responsibility is to separate people from problems. Instead of asking, who caused this? Ask, what evidence do we have? What risks remain? And what actions can we take today? By focusing on facts and solutions, the team can make better decisions even under intense pressure. The conflict is finally resolved, but not every suggestion can be delivered immediately. The facilitator helps the team prioritize using the Moscow technique. Critical issues, like payment failures, become must-have items. Improvements that increase customer value are should-have. Nice enhancements become could-have, while ideas outside today's objective become won't-have for now. Clear prioritization turns feedback into an actionable product backlog. Think back to the first sprint review you attended. Was it simply a project update, or was it a strategic conversation? Mature Agile teams don't use sprint reviews to report progress. They use them to shape the product. As facilitation skills improve, meetings evolve from one-way presentations into collaborative workshops where every stakeholder contributes to better business decisions. Learning facilitation happens through continuous practice. This week, apply one storytelling technique during your sprint review. Next week, Introduce a visible feedback board. Then rotate demo ownership so different team members present the product. Finally, hold a short facilitation retrospective after each sprint review. Small improvements, repeated consistently, build exceptional facilitators over time. Congratulations on completing this facilitation skills workshop. Throughout this course, you followed a real sprint review, from preparation and product demonstration to handling difficult stakeholders, resolving conflicts, and transforming feedback into product backlog decisions. Now it's your turn. Share your experiences, ask questions, and discuss the facilitation challenges you face in your own Agile projects. Every great facilitator continues learning from every sprint review.